Today we're asking a question that still sounds a bit strange, but is becoming very real. How do you rule your agents? Because right now, every business is talking about AI agents. This is no longer just the cutting edge, it's quickly becoming the standard practice. And once AI starts moving from experiments into real operations, a different question appears. Who is responsible for it? In this episode, we're talking about such hot topics as rules, monitoring, accountability. And we're doing it with somebody who deals with that in practice. Aleš Drábek, CTO at Groupon, where AI systems are already part of everyday operations. But before we bring Aleš in, let's start with what both AI governance and over-reliance, try that 3 times and fast. Over-reliance look like. Deloitte used Gen AI on Australian government report, and the final document went out with fabricated citations and other errors. A Chevy dealership put a chatbot on its website, and it sold a brand new Tahoe for $1. Not legally binding, but a clear example of what happens when a system has no real boundaries. Replit's coding agent was supposed to help build an app. Instead, during a code freeze, it deleted a live database and then tried to cover it with fabricated data. Courts keep dealing with lawyers who submit AI-invented cases and quotations as if they were real. And in Baltimore County, a student was handcuffed after an AI gun detection system misread a bag of chips as a weapon. These cases are very different, but they point to the same thing. The problem is usually not the model itself. It is weak oversight, unclear boundaries, missing accountability, or too much trust in the outputs. That is where governance begins. Companies are under huge pressure to adopt AI, but for most of them, this is still a new operating model and the risks are very easy to underestimate. It is a bit like the early days of cars. The first cars were already appearing on the roads in the 1880s, but seatbelts became common in the 1960s. The technology came first, safety rules later, and the crashes can be deadly. AI is at similar moment right now. So instead of talking about this only in theory and driving metaphors, we wanted to hear from somebody dealing with this in practice. And that brings us to Aleš Drábek, CTO at Groupon. How many agents do you currently have at Groupon?
It's different to say because we have like different departments. So if you think about engineering, where already the agents are helping in the developing the code, checking the quality of the code, helping by commits, or doing, for example, with the data pipelines, doing the reviews and see which pipelines are working, starting alerting if something is not working, and sometimes even helping to heal the problem. So there will be a couple of maybe hundreds. It depends of the team and how intensive this team is using. Then we have, of course, other departments like customer service, where we are using a solution to answer questions like many other companies. In our case, this is a little bit more complex because we are marketplace. So many of the topics where the customers have questions are connected to the merchants, because usually if something is going wrong, it's going wrong by the merchants. So it was more complex. It took more time to combine this knowledge graphs from all of the rules and regulations what different merchants have with our internal regulations, and then to build this type of agents having possibility in all of the languages to answer the questions. And then we have some agents which they are helping the sales. Example, we are as a platform, or merchants are creating content which we are showing on the content detail page. So we are selling deals, yeah. And then of course, in many of the businesses there are some regulations. Yeah? What's need to be written there. Yeah? It's quite often category specific, even not only country but even city specific. What kind of regulations are there? Yeah? So we are till now, or till a few months ago, this was controlled by people, and it was quite heavy work, and so now we have agents which is controlling this if the content is in line with the regulations and so on and so on. So we are adding basically every week something, but we are still on the beginning. So we have still a lot of possibilities where we can improve our processes and operations.
Still, statistically, you've got 2,000 employees, 2,000 plus, right? So still slightly more than you have agents. Do you think this still be the case? More employees than agents, let's say in a year or two?
So we will see how this will develop. So what is clear is that we are moving from the mode where people were using AI as the assistant, so doing the prompt, getting the answers, helping them with some analysis or in the work. We are moving more to the automatizations, and this could be automation with agents or without agents, where the people are more the orchestrators, and of course this will have some effect on the number of people which we have, but it can have also effect how fast we are scaling our business. So example, if we are able, 80% of the manual work what our sales team is doing, move on the agents, and they can focus on the more valuable work, then we can grow 10 times more. So this will have not probably effect on the size of the sales teams, but in some other departments there are situations like in the customer service, and we are not alone. There's also most of the companies are moving the directions, where the customer service, where there will be only few customer service employees managing the agents, managing the content, managing the edge cases, seeing the quality, overseeing the quality, and defining what of the agents, and defining what needs to be next steps, what kind of content is missing, what needs to be correct, what is the right of the tone of voice. So the change will completely, so the work will completely change for the people, and there will be definitely not so many people as we had in the last couple of years, and we still have.
So at least salespeople can calm down. You can calm down. As CTO,
no, I will jump in that. I believe
so not.
No one can calm down anymore. It's in the hands of the people how they will jump on these possibilities, how they will utilize these possibilities, how they will use the technologies to, let's say, upgrade themselves, and then the future is there, independently in which department, and I believe independently in which companies. This is only a matter of time. Some of them are moving faster, some of them are slower, but the directions, most of the companies have the same.
With hundreds of agents as CTO, how do you manage and monitor them?
We have different type of technology platforms. So where we already from the beginning made the right step was to build some framework. As an example, we have one solution which we are using for managing all the prompts, but also the observability of the prompts, also checking the quality of the prompts, also A/B testing for the prompts, and so on. Then we have the next solution where we are managing access to all type of large language models. So to make sure that we have everything in one place, we can monitor the cost, we can switch between more expensive and less expensive models, depend on use cases, and so on and so on. So the next is, one of the most difficult is how we are monitoring the quality. So for example, for the customer service, is relatively easy. We defined basically what kind of KPIs we want measuring. We are getting the answer from the people, resolution rates, and so on and so on. But when we have, for example, agents, they are helping us, or AI, they are helping us improving the quality of our deals. The question is, what is the definition of good deal? What kind of KPIs we want to use? Because if you are in the business where many people are doing the manual works, they have their own KPIs. Yeah? But if you are saying, okay, I would like to have the agents, then I need to have more standardized KPIs to understand if they are really delivering the value which we are expecting them from them or not. Yeah?
Are the KPIs different compared to those which were prior to AI adoption, or is it more about standardization of KPIs of business people so that it's measurable with agents in place?
It's both. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's going both directions. Yeah. For example, with the customer service, you are using probably very similar KPI. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how fast you are answering, yeah, how good you are answering, so what is the satisfaction rate, yeah, mm-hmm. How many interactions you have till you solve the problems and so on. So we are using basically the same KPIs, yeah. For example, for the engineering, you will use different type of KPIs. One of the key KPIs was for the developers is how they quickly write the code. Yeah? AI can very fast write code, yeah? But it can be long lines code. Yeah? So then you need to define what means quality of the code. Yeah? And honestly to say, till now we are not there. We, for example, don't have clear KPIs for the whole development process, yeah, which will be like AI first KPIs, yeah, which will properly measure, because it's not about speed, because it's done in a few minutes, yeah, writing the codes. Yeah. Sometimes the long code makes sense. In many cases, doesn't make sense the long code. Yeah. So what is the definition of the quality? Yeah. And what is the definition of the speed? And what is the definition of how many features we develop faster? Yeah, in comparison before. Yeah. So this is something where we are still looking for the right answer. We build platform, again AI platform, where we are doing connecting all of the data from the different systems for our developers. We are doing with AI review, yeah, so they are receiving the feedback and telling them what is the good of the code and what is good, for example, by these epics and so on. But it's still not so good used, yeah, and it still need to be trained. This is a part of the transformation. Yes.
Groupon is quite known that it's advanced in the adoption of AI and AI agents, but there are many which are not that far away. What would you recommend to those companies that are starting to start with?
In my opinion, we have a huge space for improvements. Yeah? And when we talk, for example, in US with our investors, yeah, their expectations is completely different. Mm-hmm. Yeah? And it's not only the expectation for us, but it's also the expectations for any other companies. Yeah? The US market, the speed how the US market is developing, what is the expectation from the investors and stakeholders is completely different. Like in Europe, there's a huge difference. So maybe here in Prague, where is one of our main office, we can say we are on good level. Yeah. But if we are going to US or if we are visiting some startups in San Francisco and somewhere else, yeah, then we have a different feeling. Yeah. So this is the first. The second, what I could say to other companies, stop with worries. Yeah. I say two examples. On the weekend, I read some articles that minimum in Germany, I live in Germany, so reading some news there, is that still 70% of people, employees in the companies don't have access to the AIs. Yeah. As a Groupon, we opened already 1 year ago the access to AI to every employee. Yeah. They can start to work with the different models. They can start to use them. They can start not only chat with them, but they can start to create their bots. Yeah. They get access to some type of our data, not to everything, but to, for example, data from Tableau and other systems. Yeah. And now we are opening this even more. We say, okay, we are moving all of our data to the BigQuery. and we are creating access for our employees to basically 80-90% to our data, to move in this data democratizations on completely next level, and not access to the employee, but access to the AIs, to the Claude, to the Gemini, and so on. And we had the discussions, is this risky or not? Yes, it's a little bit risky, but the risk that we are too slow is much bigger, like the risk that something will happen. And this changed in the last 2 years. 2 years ago, it was more about what is risky around move to and open for your employees the maximum the possibility.
You mentioned the innovation dilemma, like whether to go or not to go, and the possibility of missing the opportunity. How did you know that this is the one? Because there were hypes before. We're talking Meta, we're talking crypto, many others. How did you establish, this is the wagon that we cannot miss?
You can be never 100% sure. So a few years ago, as part of my job was to build IoT platform, and I was extremely convinced that this is the right momentum. And I still believe till now this was the right product, but probably we were too early on the market. But now you see that there's so many companies moving, and you see so many already positive examples. As I said, here we still, or in the Europe, we are still a little bit behind. But if I talk with my colleagues from US, they are saying, in the most of the companies, when they are calling them, doesn't matter if it's bank or finance institutes or insurance or something else, or car dealer or whatever, they already only talking with the agents, with the AI agents, and then first, and they just collect experience where the agent is better, where is worse.
If I understand you correctly, you prioritize the enablement of AI towards all your employees compared to searching for a perfect use case that would have a clear ROI or...
Yeah. This was our strategy in the last couple of months, and we could see that some of them teams and some of them employees, they really jump on it, and deliver the values, but in some areas we had a difficulty. Now we are moving on the next level. So for example, in the engineering, in the development process, till now we were telling the people, here are the tools, Cursor, Claude, CodeRabbit and other softwares, and use the tools, and share best practices and help each other, and the team leads help the whole teams to move in a direction. And then we have as I mentioned before, the measurements. We saw all of the data in one platform, and we coach them and train them and tell them what we can better. Now we are starting with the first squads where we do clear definition of how the setup should look, because we have a clear data, and not only our data but also the experience from the market is showing, if you make the framework smaller, and you tell for that squad, this is your setup, and this is how you work, and these are the skills in the GitHub which you should use, and these are the plugins what you should use, and this is how this should work, the whole process for every developer in this squad, and these are the agents which you need to use, then we are convinced we will get much better performance, and more effectivity. So this is what is changing now, from so this was the trainings, these were the friendly matches, and now we are moving to the league, so we need to have a clear guidelines how the team should play, and clear tactic.
How do you decide in the company which tasks or which problems should be solved by an AI agent compared to a human?
In some departments, the people were saying, but here these are finance tasks, this we cannot delegate to the agents, or the sales. We learned this process the last couple of years, and this is not so easy for automatization, and we have our relationship with merchants, so we cannot delegate this to agents or automatization and so on. And by engineering, some of the teams were saying, but we know more about the legacy code, and so basically discussions that's what I heard already a couple of times in every type of discussing with the people, and showing them that it's possible, and motivating them to move in that direction. The discussion is now changing in the way of what cannot be done by agents. Tell me if you think about what will happen next 12 months, what cannot be done by agents and why. And then we are analyzing this with AI. So, create argumentation, write this on the document, and then we have basically AI with the right skills, to analyzing the trends, but also, for example, in engineering, analyzing our architecture, and challenging the people. So this is what changed. It's more about now starting with.
When do you trigger this kind of discussion? Is it whenever somebody needs a new headcount? Is it across the company happening that each department has to describe all of their tasks and then defend which tasks or which topics should not be covered?
It's now starting happening across the
company. All right.
Of course, not every department at the same time, but it's really starting to happening across the company.
You mentioned some difficulties that you run into during the testing. Can you give us some examples when the agents didn't work as you hoped or expected?
Oh yes, so one of our key processes are in the sales around what we call deal life cycle. So how to create the deal with the right descriptions, with the right pictures, with the right videos, with all of the content. This was a very manual process. A lot of people involved, different internal applications. So when I saw first time the Figma showing the whole process and how it is going via so many applications, it was crazy. And it was historically basically, and we have a microservice architecture, so it was also a lot of microservices in backends. The data are not stored in one place, but distributed in the different places. So also from the technical point of view, not only from the user point of view, but also from the technical point of view, this was really and it was crazy setup. So we thought, now the agents, some last year started to be popular. Let's put on the processes the agents, and we failed. We failed because basically there were a number of reasons. One of them was that the content, so to understand what is good on the deal, what kind of regulations should be there, was mostly in the heads of the people or in the different Google Sheets, different docs, documents. It was basically spread everywhere. So the agents, they were hallucinating because they didn't have the context. And as I said, we are selling 3,000 different categories. So it's very category specific, country specific, city specific. So this was one of the problems. So the second is we were maybe too ambitious in the whole flow. So the flow was complex, and it was difficult to build the agents for the whole flow. So what we decided is to do this step back, start to work on, but it was important to do this step back and first do our homeworks. The data, collect the data, and then start more with the small steps in the automatization. Instead to let's automatize everything, or let's build the agents.
So it's just a matter of time, but you needed to start with that first.
And the future will be more about combination between the automatizations, smaller dedicated agents for specific tasks, and the orchestrations. Because this was also a little bit the hype a few months ago when we say, okay, the agents will solve everything. But what we learned, but not only we, but I believe that many companies also, that you need to build a number of specific agents for specific dedicated tasks, and then on top you are building the orchestrations. And then you need to build on top of that observability, to see if when the agents are still working, or if somewhere the workflow was stopped. And for example, if you look many of the new platforms which came on the market where you can build agents, all of this operation thinking, they didn't have. It was more like for less important task where nobody cares if it's working or not, if I say in simplified word, but they didn't have the readiness for complex tasks which need to run, and you need to have the information if something is not running, and you need to have very quickly this information. So more this basically the system observability, the performance stability, and so on. This was something where the new platforms which we were testing, they were not there. And on the end, we end up with software which is already like 8 or 10 years on the market, so nothing new, which is doing the process orchestrations, and keeping the stability and observability. And on top of that, we are putting now dedicated agents only for the specific task. But we still have this whole workflow in this.
You mentioned observability. What do you monitor for running AI agents? I suppose it's finance or spend. Then how do you monitor, for example, that the agents are doing what they are supposed to be doing?
Yeah, this is exactly with the topic about what are the KPIs? Yeah.
Okay.
And you are measuring this against these KPIs. Mm-hmm. Yeah? And if they are not improving, then we need to stop them. And move again back to the manual. Till we reach some level of quality, but also some level of the stability. Because also what we learn is doesn't mean if something is working for 2 weeks doesn't mean that it will work also the third or fifth week. Yeah, and there were definitely some mistake which we made in the architecture setup. Yeah, that we didn't thought about all of this edge cases and situations. Yeah, what happened when the agent. So example, we were building a solution where the AI is helping improve the deal creation. Yeah? And we were first testing this with the internet people, and then our idea was to expand this to the merchants, and we are working since months already on that. And for now we are starting to expand this to the merchants in specific categories, so not for all categories now, because we learned how difficult this was to reach some good quality and constant quality of the output. Yeah, there's always something change. Yeah. And then all of a sudden the quality. Or there were some edge cases. Yeah, for example, the agent is crawling the merchant's websites, and there were different type of technologies on the websites, different informations, and then the agent get confused. So we were not able to reach constantly some level of quality which we defined. Yeah, so we were basically.
Do you also see the opposite case, that people rely too much on AI or AI agents and they do not check the outcome even though they should have? So
I see this less in the agent because the people try to be careful, and there's like more situation where the people have a less trust, so they are checking what are the outcomes, and rather stopping faster the agents instead to keep them running. Where I see this is by data analysis, because now the modern AI tools, they can create a beautiful analysis with beautiful charts and so on, and it looks so convincing, and if the people don't look on the detail to understand, is this really true, or is this only nice written and the chart is nice, but in reality the system took wrong data, or combined wrong data, quite often happening.
I have one final question. To quote you, you said at the beginning of this that everybody needs to upgrade themselves at all departments. Can I ask you to bring this to human level? How should a person, maybe here working in some corporate, how should that person start? Without being pushed from the top, but because they want to upgrade themselves.
So starting from 1 till 9, it's like in the sport, and everyone can look on that and say, I'm by 2, I'm by 3. So So if expectation is that earlier or later everyone will move to the 9, yeah, what are the next steps? What I need to do to move on that? Yeah. So the level 2 is I connect my AI setup with MCP servers. Yeah. The level so that I can. So the level 3 is I improve the context. Yeah. So it's not only the MCP server, but also I have, for example, I give the AI context about me, about my work, or about what I'm accessing via the MCP servers. Yeah. The level 4 is I create some first simple agent. Yeah. Level 5 is I have some of my work so automatized that I have rights.
I don't need to read emails anymore.
I don't read emails.
So start with a prompt and hope for the best.
AI adoption is becoming a moving target. Groupon already runs hundreds of agents across engineering, customer service, sales and compliance, but Aleš still describes that as not enough when compared to US expectations. That shows how quickly the standard is shifting. What looks advanced in one market may already be the baseline in another. At the same time, this episode makes it clear that agents are only as good as the context and structure behind them. In one case, they tried to automate a complex sales workflow, but the knowledge needed for it was spread across people, spreadsheets, and documents. Without proper context, the agents hallucinated instead of helping. The lesson is straightforward. Do not start with the agent. Start with the data, the playbook, and the knowledge structure. Then automate step by step. Another big theme is that the quality of AI-generated content is hard to measure. In some areas, like customer service or even coding, poor outputs are quite easy to spot. But in other areas, like data analysis, where the main output is numbers and projections for decision makers, flaws are much harder to discover. And you need to know if your agent is doing a good job, right? That's why Aleš is especially cautious about AI-generated analysis and reports. They can look polished and convincing, even when based on wrong data or incorrectly combined data. When the work was done by humans, a bad-looking output was a signal that something might be wrong. With AI, that signal is gone. Everything looks professional. Beautiful charts do not guarantee correct results. And the AI pressure is coming from all sides, from investors, business partners, and from inside the company itself. And that is also changing what is expected from employees. The Groupon case shows us that AI shift can be pushed from the top to bottom, but it has to be introduced in a way people can actually use in their daily work. So this is not just a technology story, but also a work redesign story. The question is no longer where AI can help, but rather what still cannot be done with agents and why.